over at the shop, Drum Supply House with Jeff.
How you doing?
Hey, we just touched up his Stave shell. See what he thinks about it. We basically just recut the edges and snare bed.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it looked like before?
Yeah. And I want to say that it was more where these lugs stopped, right?
Yeah, the snare bed is real subtle now, so it's got a nice gentle taper.
Yeah.
Where before it was just kind of misshapen, really.
Yeah.
And the edges actually had, you can tell where before that wire was
had
like
some loose.
super loose right in the middle, even though it was tight.
Yeah.
So now it's real sensitive, and it's gonna, be an even tension rather than like tight on the ends and loose in the middle.
Yep.
Tell me about the shell. Where'd you get it? Was it like an eBay deal or something?
Yeah. I got the shell some years ago on eBay. I came across a deal, didn't put it together. Then kind of got into working with it. Had some hardware laying around. And just kind of put it together. So. Was having a few issues, wanted to kind of bring it by here and see what you thought, and then we noticed that the snare beds were kind of off.
And the edges as well, actually.
Yeah. So
the edges are a little sharper. We still left a little round over to the outside.
I can even tell, even from looking in the head,
What
it was more rounded.
It was a lot more rounded.
Yeah.
And it had just a very small angle on the inside.
Got you.
So we basically just cleaned it up. It was true as far as being flat. It was not too bad. But the one thing that we did get into is because I don't know if we decided if it was maple and walnut, but the two different types of wood being joined together like that, they reacted a little bit differently.
Got you.
Because they're just different compositions of wood.
Yeah.
So once we opened it up and kind of get a little chatter on the router, they started to shift a little bit, which you'll see with Stave shells.
Yeah.
But we evened it back out and cut the edges so they're nice and flat. But the walnut section, the darker section, has a real coarse end grain to it where those edges touch. And the lighter wood has a real soft touch to it. So it's kind of two weird woods to put together. It looks cool, but when you start getting into bearing edges, it gets a little tricky.
A little weird. Let's see what it sounds like. Cool. Oh, it's more crisp, man. I can tell already. It's the sound before was more of a kind of seemed a little, I won't say cloudy, but it wasn't defined like it is now. And I'm sure this head makes a difference. Yeah. It took a lot to get a lot out of the snare. Then I know that the staves, should already be giving. Yeah, it's a really nice shell. It's just the edges kind of held it back. Yeah.
Here's another stick.
Yeah. This is great. I like to loosen them up a little bit.
I just kind of had it fairly tight.
Let's tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a key there. You should be able to get some fatness out of it. Now that head hasn't been seated very well, so it'll probably detune a little.
Yeah.
The bottom was your original snare side, so it's good and seated.
I actually like to use. I probably use snare heads more than new, man.
Yeah.
I'll use new probably for session stuff, but man, I like a worn-in head.
It's a little warmer, I guess, probably.
Yeah. It's already where it doesn't take much to get where you want to go, especially if you're not cranking it or whatever, and you want some kind of mid to lower. Yeah. And that's probably with moderate. It's not too tight on the bottom.
The bottom's not too tight. The top was tighter.
Yeah. And I normally play like that. Yeah. It's cool, man. The snare is just more wide open, man. It's more clear and defined, man.
You should have a good sensitivity level from soft strokes all the way up.
Yeah, man. This is great. I just remember what I heard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I heard it felt choked. It seemed like it was just kind of choked out with those round edges. Super round edges. Yeah. Cool.
Hey, man. Well.
Oh, and the other thing, we swapped the wires to the bottom. You can check that out. We put some of our craft tone wires on there, which is a German heat-treated wire, and some of our straps there as well.
Gotcha.
So they have brass end plates. They're a little cheaper than the pure sound, and plus they're just the snappy snare wire. So it's kind of equal to kind of like a blaster, the pure sound blaster. That's a 25 strand, so you got
Gotcha.
some good sensitivity, but it's not, too many wires. Although with that new snare bed, you could put a 30 strand on there.
Yeah. I'm more of the 30 strand. But you know what, man? To be honest, it's been a long time since I've used the smaller 25s or whatever.
Yeah.
And this doesn't sound bad. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Good work. Good work.
Thanks, buddy.